Hello, hello. It's time for another Yu-Gi-Oh! Replay. Let's get into it. We got a match here, and I thought this one was very, very interesting, especially with how things went after the side decking. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. We've got the card by card here, a Prosperity, a Ritual. We got the Amazina, Talent, love to see this one of, and a Prayers. Such a solid hand. And then we've got Nib, Lubellion, Imperm, Ogre, and Wanted from the opponent. It looks like they are on some Bystial, Amazina combo deck. Let's take a look. Let's see what they're up to. All right, so they're going to lead with the Lubellion here to get themselves a Magnamut. Seems reasonable to me. Now they're going to get their Wanted in rotation here, which will start to load up their grave and probably give them access to their Amazina cards. So sure enough, they have the Deception, and we just don't have hand traps, which is kind of a bummer. So they're going to go ahead and tribute off to get their Hallowed Amazina, is what it is. And then they'll use the Hallowed to bring out the Risilago. And then this will go ahead and search their Book of Moon. Yep. Special summon monster gets Book of Moon. They'll search out a Fiendsmith Tract here. Or it looks like they're Sanct. They probably just drew that. So they're going to go ahead and use the Sanct, get into their Requiem combo. Now they've got Lacrima here, which will dump their Engraver, get some bodies on field. Here they are. Interesting choice to go for a Chaos Angel. I definitely don't agree with that. But they will get their Magnamut here, which then gets them into their Lubellion line, setting up their Regained. Regained, such a crazy card still. Okay, so they are now going to go ahead and Hallowed out here, and then because Morian was sent, they get to set this up. So we've got an Imperm and Morian set up on their side. They search the Baldrake. We don't know about the Nib. And then they've got, decent protection here. This light means that their Synchros are unaffected by monster effects. This is a negate. This is bringing stuff back. It's not a terrible field. I just think that this Chaos Angel could have been turned into something a little bit better. Maybe set up their Desiree or whatever. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and now pass it on over to us here. And we do not make the mistake. I thought we might have for a second. We do activate Prayers in the draw phase. Just a good habit to get into, right? Play around the draw. Even though they don't have it, you got to assume that they do. So let's see. They are not responding to the Prayers, which is great. So now we're going to go ahead and grab our Murakamo because we already have the Ritual, and this is going to set us up. So now we need to start baiting these, interruptions, essentially. This is their Omni Negate, so the sooner we can bait this, the better. And let's just see what they got here. Okay, so we're going to banish 6, make it as juicy as possible for them to irresistibly negate. Sure enough, they fire it off, and they do negate the Prosperity. Happy to see that. Now we're going to Talents take their Angel, just because that way we can make sure that this thing isn't messing us up, and we can maybe use it for link fodder. So they're going to Imperm our, our Amasa. That's fine. They're going to get their Magnamut search, so they're going to get a little bit ahead and advantage here. But now we're going to go ahead and take care of their Morian. Probably could have gone after the Regained here instead. What's this thing doing? This is just Book of Mooning something, so we probably could have let that go and instead gotten rid of the Regained with the SP. Food for thought. Now we're going to go ahead and Ritual on out here. They will chain Baldrake, so they do get a chance to interact on our Ritual summon. But we are just loading up the grave with some vicious cards here. So now we've got the Murakamo Chainlink 1. We have the Saji Chainlink 2 to search a spell. We're going to Regeki, we're going to search a Mitsurugi spell, and then we're going to recycle back our Ritual here. They are now choosing to Baldrake Chainlink 4 and then Regained Chainlink 5. We're going to respond with the Murakumo here, force them to discard if they want to use something, which they choose not to. So no draws for you. They do end up banishing our Murakamo. Not the end of the world, right? We can Kusanagi that back later on should we need. We're also on 2. So we're not in any rush to get that thing back. Now we're going to go ahead and wipe their field here. Happy to see it. We're just going to go ahead and set the Prayers and pass. Let's see what they're up to. They're going to choose to Druis Worm, get rid of our Saji, put a body on field. Kind of a bummer. And then they're going to draw into a Veiler, which isn't doing too much. They'll just run over the SP Little Knight. Makes sense. Now they are going to choose to set up their Hallowed. So I figure at this point, it's perfect time to go ahead and grab our next follow-up out of the deck and make sure we can activate our Fuelos. So we'll let them commit a body first. And now we're going to go ahead. Oh, I should have dropped the Fua on that. But yeah, we get at least one single draw from here, which is not terrible. But they are now going to Lacrima set up their Paradise, which is more interruptions on our turn. Now they're going to go ahead and set up a Necro Equip and then pass it on over to us. Now, this is a bit of a challenge. I actually forgot. Necroquip says if a monster, parentheses S. So it could be any number of monster sent from the hand to the graveyard to activate a card effect. That can be either player. I thought it was just if your monster. So should have read this one a little bit closer. They will get a draw off of this Shotgun Fuelos. But I figured, you know, if they want to set up this Requiem play, Lacrima, you know, shuffle itself back, target the Requiem to get more searches out of their deck. We'll at least have the Fua, and then we can lead with the Extravagance here in our main phase 1. So we'll go ahead and banish 6. Just completely eviscerate our extra deck. We don't need it. Grabbing an Imperm here is really, really nice. So now we're going to go ahead and pre-prep, grab more stuff out of the deck. We're now going to Haba out the Aramasa tribute. So Aramasa is going to chain, and we will get our Aramasa will trigger, and then they're going to chain their regain to summon back, which is totally fine. So we'll get our search, they get their summon, which is great because now we've got a Kaiju. So we'll get rid of their 1 interruption guy and tribute our Habakiri to get another search here. This time we're grabbing our prayers. Monster Reborn. Just keep it in hand at all times if we can. Now we're going to go ahead and bring out our other Murakamo already coming up. We'll do Murakamo Chainlink 1. We're going to have the... the Futsu Chainlink 2. And then they are going to choose to chain their Paradise as Chainlink 3 to set up their Desiree. So we're going to go ahead and grab the Mirror now to summon out, be able to summon out rituals from the graveyard. They are going to inevitably target our Murakumo, and we're just going to go ahead and chain it, right? We're going to chain the prayers to dodge, and then we're going to go ahead and bring out the Kusanagi. This is where things get a little crazy here. So they do out our Wosu, but who cares? We're able to have our Murakamo as Chainlink 1 to come back, and then search and come back, sorry. And then the Kusanagi is going to attempt to recycle. They will Valor here, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, absolutely does not matter. We're going to go ahead and search another body and then bring out the Murakamo. Now we can Ritual from hand. We'll get this Habakiri. They do Shotgun the Nib, which is totally fine because now we can just mirror out for the last name. We're going to beat over their Nib, and now they're in a terrible position because we've got the Imperm to block their Regained. So they will special summon, which means we are going to special summon. We're going to go ahead and have our Kusanagi be Chainlink 2 because they are not the turn player. They get to chain their Regained to Chainlink 1. Our Kusanagi will chain Chainlink 2. And then we're going to go ahead and just chain the Imperm to negate their Engraver and their Regained for a 2-for-1 deal. And now we've got the prayers back. Again, we are just kind of keeping this card in rotation as long as possible. And... oh no. Come on. Let's get this replay going here. It's too juicy to pass up. Well, I mean, like, this is kind of silly. But basically, we had this game locked up. They're going to have to commit more special summons, which means we are going to be able to use our Murakamo to destroy. So there's no coming back from this. We just moved on to game 2. All right, so now in game 2 here, right, we have a prayers, evenly, Ame, prayers, and another evenly. Oh, it's so juicy, especially seeing what we're up against. I didn't actually see what they sales banned, so we'll get to refresh ourselves here. They've got a Lurie. They have a Lubellion, Attract, a sales band, and Judgment. This is a solid hand going first, too. So I'm expecting some good setup here. So they're going to fire off the sales band. And call Droll and Muckford. Okay, so no, that means no Drolls from them for the rest of the duel, which is fantastic. I don't know why they're not on Droll. That seems horrible. So now we're going to go ahead and get the Lubellion to search Mag. We're now going to track to get rid of this Lurie, so we can search the Engraver and pitch the Lurie. Lurie comes back into the Requiem. Requiem's now going to go ahead and grab Lacrima, which Lacrima can then dump the Paradise. Full Fiendsmith combo here. So they're going to go ahead and set up. They've got their Necroquip. Now they'll get their Engraver to get the extra draw off of Necroquip. What do they hit? Grab a Sanct here. Interesting. Another sales band. That's terrible. All right, so now they're going to go ahead and Engraver summon out to make a Caesar. Now we can go into our Bystial line here. Get rid of the Lacrima, which seems terrible. And then we will bring out the Lubellion to set up our Regained. Now we're going to go ahead and set Judgment, set Sanct, search Baldrake, pass. Incredible. Now this was a mistake. Definitely should have triggered the prayers in the draw phase. There were a few ways for them to interact with this, right? Notably, we have multiple copies of prayers here, and let's read their effects here, right? We know that they have a judgment. We don't know which one of these is judgment, but we know one of them is judgment. And then we have the Caesar as well. Caesar says negate the activation. Judgment says negate the summon or activation. So if you negate the activation of prayers, prayers is worded where it says you can only activate one prayers per turn. So if that activation is negated, you are allowed to activate a second copy. Love to see that. So yes, we could have changed this in the draw phase and tributed the Habakiri, and then they would have been forced to, use one of these to negate. So I think that would have been right. I think, though, knowing that they called a sales ban and they are no longer able to use Droll for the rest of the duel, I don't think we necessarily need to fire this thing off. So holding it was fine. I had forgotten that they had used, or I didn't know what they used sales ban for. I missed the call, and it doesn't, unfortunately, track that in Dueling Nexus in the logs. So a little bit unfortunate. So now we're just going to go ahead and get rid of this judgment, or bait it out first with one of our evenly matched. Little do they know, we have the second copy. They go down to 4,000 life, which is horrible for them. Drop the second evenly, and now they're in a terrible position. They just have DDD and Baldrake, which is great. We were able to deal with that regained, which is just fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and activate the Habakiri as Chainlink 1, which baits a Caesar negate. We're going to go ahead and Prayers Chain tribute the Habakiri, which of course will be met with the second Caesar. However, we're still getting Habakiri to get its tribute effect to add, which is great. We need to now start getting cards that as we tribute them, we need their effects to go off because we're going to use the second prayers. So that's why we go ahead and grab the Futsu. We've side decked here down to one copy of Murakamo, so that is why we don't choose to immediately grab that one. Nice to keep Futsu in deck to ritual summon with the Mitsurugi ritual summon it from the deck, break the mechanic a little bit, but that's totally fine. So we're going to go ahead and search the Murakamo, and then this is a little bit silly. There's nothing to summon back, so we should not have triggered this. In fact, I don't think we can trigger both effects because there is nothing. There is no Mitsurugi I can summon from hand or grave. All of these are rituals. None of them have been properly summoned. So, frankly, I don't think I should have... Oh, it's take 800, then I can. So, unfortunately, you still can take the 800. So, yeah, I guess I just shouldn't have triggered both effects. A little bit silly on my part, but not going to matter in the long run. Now we've tributed Futsu, so we're going to go ahead and get its effect to search. And we're at business here. This is just game over. Ritual summon from hand by using materials from deck. Send Saji and Kusu. So now we're going to get Murakamo Chainlink 1, Saji Chainlink 2, Kusu Chainlink 3. They're going to attempt to out with this Desiree. It just does not matter. So now we've got another copy of Prayers, which, totally fine. They can get rid of this Murakamo. We're going to force them to pitch to, do that. And now we're just going to go ahead and set Prayers. And this may not look like much, but it actually is super formidable against what they have because... Right. They're going to go ahead and set up their Fiendsmith. We're just going to go ahead and get this Murakamo, and now their Fiendsmith is gone. They could have Baldraked first, for what it's worth. I think that would have been a decent play. To then see if I had anything. I probably was just going to let them swing with Baldrake. I was going to wait for the Fiendsmith 100%. So, yeah, there was no winning this. This Judgment's not getting them out of it. And then we've got the Ritual for follow-up, which is just busted because we've got 3 Habakiri that we can still toggle into. So, yeah, this was a very swift 2-0. I think there were a couple things we could have done a little bit differently, but overall, I was pretty happy with this. Unfortunately, our Goat Roti guy did not sequence his cards very cleanly. This sales ban seems pretty darn awful. But yeah, this is still the Fiendsmith deck with some Bystials. I think Fiendsmith is probably best mixed with some other strategies. Mitsurugi Fiendsmith is very formidable. I don't know if you can just get away with a Bystial Fiendsmith deck right now, but I could be mistaken. But yeah, Fiendsmith is still very, very solid. However, I don't think this Bystial version is the right way to go. But yeah, hope you enjoy these extra Mitsurugi combos and not deck profiles, but we'll get that soon enough. Right now, we're just prepping for the regional. So anyways, hope y'all enjoy.